Welcome to the Green Room, and of course, Kayla, wiping with government one-ply is always better than wiping with, like, the judicial branch, possibly? Legislative? Probably? By the way, welcome to the Green Room, everybody. It's White Bat Audio you are listening to as we sort of gear up and get ready for the show. Not much of a plan. However, I've got some stuff on the back burner should we start to sputter, so don't you worry. But still, welcome to the Green Room. Hopefully you're finding your seats and unwrapping your candies. How's it hanging, Tony? Welcome to the Green Room. We'll be starting soon. Don't you worry. Glad to have you, even though I have no plan. What a ride it will be. Roller coaster or hayride? You be the judge. By the end, we'll all know. Probably closer to the hayride. Oh boy, all right, people, here we go. Just about. Everything is in order, I think. Oh man, this mic is so dusty. Anyway, let's see here. Once again, White Bat Audio is what we're listening to. Probably going to be listening to it all show long because, I thought, well, maybe we'll just start because I'll not have the explanation in the Green Room. We'll go to the show proper. What is up, Matt? Welcome to the tail end of the... I didn't even turn on the slideshow. We'll get to see that for a few slides, and then we'll start. All right, folks, get ready for the show because it's coming up right after this.
Dog. Cat. Mouse. Turtle.
You're listening to FFOP Radio.
Reach the
welcome to the show. My name is Dave. This is FFOP Radio. It's Wednesday. We're doing a thing. Let me introduce you to my co-host as usual. Chris is over there on the couch. Also my producer.
Yes, I'm here.
So this is what we're looking at, people. Going over all the stuff that I got waiting in the wings. I've got commercials that we could watch or do some more employee training. But I thought, let's just take it easy for one night, dress down casual, and just sort of have like a relaxing night, I guess. We get some stuff set up here. So that's just it. We got nothing. However, if this does sputter, I've got some 90s commercials waiting in the wings.
And those are always fun.
Yeah. Now, what is up, everybody?
Hey,
again,
Matt.
hey, what is up? 101 to Matt Willis out there.
101.
I was going to play a game, too, but then I was like, play a game in a while. And so now the Skylark is up in lights. You can't really see it, but it's
it's there.
Who made the Skylark? Buick? Plymouth? Don't know. Got that at an antique store for like $3. You can't even see it. Why am I talking about it?
We should have put it on black paper.
I just stuck it up there as a Larth. As a lark or a Larth? I've heard it both ways. I also thought about setting up like having like a total like waste of your time and mine, setting up a little camera and pulling all of my monster trucks and doing like a little tour of my, because hello, we just picked up more today. I've got so many Mystery Mudder versions of El Toro Loco. It's unbelievable.
Was the one that you got today new?
Yeah. Classic. Nice. And here's the thing. I did not see myself a monster truck fan growing up. I saw a grand total of like one monster truck rally on TV when I was a kid. And I only stuck around because it was like the 90s, my favorite decade, so I was stuck there anyway. But beyond that, the one I watched in between the races, the freestyle competitions or whatever, they would have people, like actual IRL people dressed up like Gravedigger or any of these characters that would like trash talk each other in these little talking head segments between the races or whatever. And I my love of pageantry, I was stuck with it, but then I was like, but the monster truck thing is kind of boring.
One too many. Monster trucks were Matt's jam as a kid.
That's the thing. I wasn't a car person or a monster truck person until my kid popped into my life and decided to be a car person over a dinosaur person.
He still likes dinosaurs. They're like number 2.
It's a distant second, though.
He's number 3 because it's cars, monster trucks. They're probably both number 1. I guess dinosaurs are 2.
I'm going to say anything with a combustion engine and or electric with wheels first, biological organisms second. But, the kid comes, swinging hard out of left field. And so now we're collecting monster trucks. And by we, I mean everybody in the family.
Yeah.
Like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I have 10 El Toro Locos.
Yeah, I probably have probably 8 or 10 dragons of the Mutter ones where you have the mystery ones.
Mystery Mutters. Yeah. So Cars versus Dinosaurs, if you like that sort of thing, there's a comic book out there called, what you call it?
Something.
It's Cadillacs versus Dinosaurs.
Oh.
So it's like that sort of 50s diner feel with T-Rex and shit. But yeah. And then here's the thing. So my kid will turn another left, when you think, okay, because he knows all the monster truck names, and so we're collecting them, all that's great. Doesn't give a single shit about like real Monster Jam footage because there's a million people out there who'll pull out their 4K smartphones and shoot a 45 to 90 minute Monster Jam show with decent sound and picture. There's one guy out there on YouTube, Avenger Racing, pretty decent shit. He's going all over the globe for this stuff.
Right.
Like he'll fly
it's like
from
his job.
Georgia to Australia just to take in a Monster Jam. And I love the pageantry. I love all that stuff. I think I'm finally coming into realizing that like the skill involved it would take not to just like smash a big giant truck around. But you know what? He's like, my son, he goes, nah, Monster Jam, lame. I want to see like his stupid bullshit is Griff's Garage, where it's one of those multi-million viewer BMG automotive.
Yeah, it's that BeamNG like computer software or game
and so
thing.
they just rip off all the monster trucks and crash them into each other, and he can't get enough of it. Whereas I'm like, yo, let's watch like Megalodon actually get smashed up while trying to do a backflip, and he's like, hard pass. Originally Xenozoic Tales, yes, Cadillacs and dinosaurs, yeah, and the aesthetic. Come on, guys.
Hello, Scott.
Hey, what's up, Scott? I think I might have that arcade game kicking around here somewhere.
Oh, really?
Legally obtained, of course. Well, here's the thing. So Avenger is one of the monster trucks.
The Avenger.
The Avenger. He comes in many different flavors. Typically, he's a 55 Chevy Bel Air, but he can be a truck, or sometimes he's an Impala.
Yeah.
It's wild shit. Some of them are just lazy as hell. Like, I think... whatever. There's a fine line when you're talking about giant, mega automobiles that are plastered in stickers and advertisements. You say, well, what's too
much?
What's too much, or what's too corporate, or whatever? Like you say, okay, El Toro Loco, got it. Gravedigger, locked in. Blue Thunder, cool. Then you go like
Lucas Oil
Stabilizer truck.
It's just a tank, like not a tanker truck. It's the front of an 18-wheeler.
Yeah, it's a big Kenworth or whatever. And it's a nice looking thing.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's so annoying about it. It's like Lucas Stabilizer. That's how it gets, whatever. And then there's Great Clips Mohawk Warrior.
Yeah.
Like, not for nothing. Like, put the plaster Great Clips stickers all over it, right? Don't call it Great Clips Mohawk Warrior. Just say it's Mohawk Warrior. We'll read the Great Clips, and you won't come across as like super... I don't know. It just seems like super...
Yeah, like Great Lit Clips bought the fact that they have to have their name in the name,
and
which
I
is
get
stupid.
most of these, if not all of them, because like how many small time like monster truck owners are out there like traveling the monster truck circuit. But like, there are some out there, like Thunder Roarus is a new one.
Yeah.
Or
like Northern Nightmare. I never heard of Northern Nightmare.
Northern Nightmare, there's just so many of them out there that don't make the big scene. But like Earthshaker's in every one. And like, Gravedigger has like 7 or 8 doppelgangers of his ass rolling around. And they're not even shy about it.
Oh, yeah, no.
I miss Bigfoot. What happened to Bigfoot? He was a classic.
Oh,
And
yeah, I don't know what
Gravedigger
happened.
can stick around for 40 years. And then Son of the Digger, which I find morally dubious,
Yeah.
rolls around all the
It's a
time.
strange thing. I like all the different monster mutts, but I've never seen more than just the regular monster mutt than the Dalmatian and Scooby-Doo. You don't see the poodle rolling around on
Well, no, you probably don't. And that's the thing. Like, I don't know. It just feels like when I'm watching it and I get caught up in the pageantry, and like, it's giant monster trucks like jumping and shit, and it's very cool. And like, the sound is very primal, and like anything with like loud, deep, low boom, like I think appeals to most people on some level, because you go, oh whoa, like that's a symbol of power.
Mm-hmm.
But then like between races and like the buzz sorts of wears away from the adrenaline. You look around and it's like people wear like mullets unironically, who are like totally shit-faced on $17 Michelob Ultras.
Right.
And you go, God damn, because it's the craziest dichotomy. Some of the like the most expensive to maintain hobbies are partaken of by like, not super rich people, to put it nicely. Like a monster truck would be a bitch to maintain because they're always breaking. You have to put new bodies all the time. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if nothing from one monster truck made it to the next.
Oh yeah,
arena.
no, I'm sure they completely take that thing apart.
Like, or maybe the engine, but like, Jesus Christ. And
The
like,
amount that those things start on fire in the middle of a thing is
millions
crazy.
of dollars rolling around literally before the eyes of all these people who are paying like $200 a ticket to like watch people just like them in control of millions of dollars of like American dream, essentially.
Right.
Everybody loves monster trucks.
They're cool. Like, I prefer collecting the monster trucks over the cars, Like the Hot Wheels, because, obviously, if we're collecting monster trucks, David and I with Elliot, we're also collecting cars, too.
But to a lesser extent. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the thing about... Drop my monster truck, use my magnum dong. Yeah, Jameson knows what I'm talking about. What's happening, Allison? We're taking a week off. We're talking about monster trucks. I hope you like them.
Maybe we'll end up on cars at some point, too.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just something about... Like it's like monster trucks is like the professional wrestling of like the car world, right? Where like the Olympics is like NASCAR, funny car racing, or like highly competitive and like highly regulated shit.
Right, they're just doing the same thing every time, going around and around and around and around.
Well, I mean, but regardless, it's just like so... The things that we do to entertain ourselves is crazy. And the fact that never count yourself out of anything. Every time I found myself judging something, between 1 and 10 years down the road, my resolve would soften, or I would break, and I would give the thing that I gave such a hard time to. I figured out that it was okay most of the time.
Yeah, I grew up watching NASCAR because my dad likes it. And I mean, yeah, you can kind of walk away and come back, but then if you miss like a big ass crash, like then you miss that and it probably won't happen. Like there probably won't be another big one.
NASCAR feels like the ASMR of racing. It's like
it's
a
the same
whole
sound
event.
constant.
I don't know. That's I get why it appeals to different things hit differently to different people. Like if you just want something to gather around, sports and shit like this are one of those things that you can.
Mm-hmm.
But
I like watching baseball over any other major sport.
I find that super boring as well. And that's the thing. How can you figure out, or how will you know what? You don't know what'll hit until it does. Like, I know. And it may seem boring. Like everything that everybody does around me that I don't get, I feel like shouldn't exist some of the time. Because I go like, it's so boring. But since you don't know, like I was having this conversation, I think I brought it up on here before. But like every weird job out there has to have a small sliver of its population where that person really wants to do it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, no matter how shitty or boring or whatever the job, because somebody look at that and goes, yeah, that's for me because it fits that keyhole and it scratches that itch. But you go, Jesus Christ. Because from your point of view, I don't necessarily love my job, but like I work with people who are like, I love it. I go, what? Why? Like,
yeah. I love working in research. Clinical research is like my jam, and I've gone through so many different aspects of it. Currently, I am not a huge fan of what I do because I'm not involved in research like I want to be, because I'm kind of on the back. Like I don't even feel like I'm in it.
Right.
Because I'm making training documents, and that's not...
Okay, so that's a couple of things going on, because even before it was normal for people to just like jump jobs every so often, because like, not to talk generational, but there was a time when you could work at a company for 40 years and they go, great, thanks, here's a watch, and you can retire. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Whereas like now, I don't think, like some of the companies I worked for over the past 20 years don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
So I've always been moving around to different things or changing companies within the same field. And that's just been my status quo, because I don't ever feel like I have a ribbon of anything solid running through me. Like as the background of this shot shows, nothing stays static for long. And that goes for like everything. So anybody who has any expertise in anything, I can appreciate, because I don't think I've ever had the drive to stick with something for so long.
Well, yeah, and I think part of the like the places that you've worked in the last 20 years or whatever, you know, those people that own those places retire themselves and they just close up because nobody wants to, they don't want to have somebody buy them out, or like, you know, whatever. They're just like, well, all right, I'm done.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's doctor's offices. It's small places.
That's why we need the Bigfoot back in Monster Jam, right? Somebody bring back the oldies, but here's the great thing about it. Like I you know, not to talk more about Monster Jam, but it's very interesting. Not to like bring it back to like wrestling, right? I don't know why, but social media seems to think I'm a fucking wrestlehead because everywhere I go, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, everything that's like a targeted advertising sort of post, it's all about like Ric Flair and Sting and Macho Man Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan.
Because you talk about the Hulk Hogan and Macho Man.
No, you say that all the time. I bring up Macho Man Randy Savage every once in a while.
Yeah, it hears you, and it's like, oh, you love it.
No, I don't. Why doesn't it? Here's the thing. If it hears me say Macho Man Randy Savage over my shoulder, like through a vent somewhere, and it goes, oh, locked in on wrestling, how doesn't it hear what I'm talking about, like right now, where I go, stop showing me that shit. It's the wrong demo. But that's not even what I'm talking about. like the classic wrestlers that are still alive are all like retiring and or doing stunts, like Ric Flair's doing shit, Sting's doing shit. Sting's retiring like either late this year or early next year. Moral of the story is, with a monster truck, you don't ever have to literally die because you get blown apart every freestyle competition.
Yeah,
where the fuck did Bigfoot go? Did he die?
Maybe they just...
I am not talking about Hulk Hogan. Again, just maybe Macho Man every once in a while.
Well, he's just said it 16 times this episode alone. The AI is like, oh.
Yeah, learn a negative prompt, AI. Jesus.
Maybe they just don't... The property of Bigfoot ended after their like lead driver died.
Who knows? I mean, and plus, who would pick up the mantle or whatever? Like... I don't know, but that's just the thing. Moral of the story is you don't, like, they're like cartoon characters. Like, as long as the voice actor can produce Bart Simpson or Homer Simpson's voice, we can have 50 years of The Simpsons. But like with a monster truck, like anybody can hop into an El Toro Loco.
Yeah, because we've seen how many different drivers for these trucks.
I wish I was a Macho Man. Yeah, because sometimes there'll be a lady driver.
Yeah, the Lucas Oil main person is a lady driver.
Yeah, it's... And I don't understand how... maybe any of it. I'm not so deep in the lore. I don't understand shit. Like, we'll watch Monster Jam competitions where, like, they'll only introduce half the docket, right? The heavy hitters, but I would consider the other half equally heavy hitters, or sometimes they'll just roll in between 7 and 9 copies of Gravedigger.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, you know, what's the fire engine? Red Hook and Ladder, or like Pirate's Curse, whoever, they get one, and just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, they're like the B grade monster trucks.
But that's the thing. I don't even know what B grade means because they're all like $1 billion machines.
Yeah.
Not your screen. Wrestling duty. It's a good one. It's a good one.
That's funny.
I don't know, man. Like, there are so many places where reboot, like, we're still in that sort of reboot or like sort of kid culture as adults, but like there are some places where it's appropriate. I feel like like a sports team, again, I'll say that, like, you know, you wouldn't say like the Cardinals is a stationary object, like the Arizona Cardinals. Like, if one or all of the Cardinals disappeared, we couldn't just collect a bunch of people from all over the U.S. like we have already and make another batch of Cardinals. But no one gets upset about it.
Yeah.
Monster trucks, people.
You know the Arizona Cardinals were in the World Series this year?
How'd they get to the World Series?
Aren't they baseball? No, the Diamondbacks are baseball. Sorry.
Cardinals are football.
My bad.
Football. But like, that's the thing. Who cares? Every time. Right. So maybe that's the point too. Is like, what am I rooting for? Because I ask sports people this all the time. I say, well, the Arizona Cardinals, there's people from Minnesota and Wisconsin and Florida and all over the place. Like, a sports team should be like your local people fighting against other local people. Like, when you had like the original Olympic Games, if like Troy poached a bunch of people from Athens to do whatever in the Olympics, that would feel kind of like cheap, right? If it's like, who's the best city state of Greece? If they were all poaching each other's athletes, like, what would we be proving?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Yankees, they, all of, like, baseball and stuff, they get... they get...
they all bought tickets is how they got there.
No, but they've gotten, like, players from, like, Dominican Republic and stuff like that, too.
That's still one of the same amount of games. Hey, how dare you? That's my Arizona Cardinals. That's it, right? No, who cares? Doesn't matter. That's my point, though. Is like it's like the same sort of mushhead idea of like the people who are like, America, like, what do you love about America? And you go, freedom. And you go, okay, this conversation is over. It's the same sort of feeling I get when I talk to sports fans. Like, everybody from Arizona is from somewhere else, so they like their sports team. And I go, why? And they go, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't really matter because it's a revolving cast of characters. That you must just like the look of the Viking logo or the Ravens or whatever. I like the look of El Toro Loco. And I guess it doesn't matter as long as they all do the same tricks, right? Like, if you're going to be an artist, you work on a cartoon, you have to learn the style of that cartoon, but you don't hold it against the artist. So, like, if someone wants to, like, El Toro Loco's driver dies, they can find some other Yahoo who can put it up on the front tires and blow a bunch of steam through the nostrils. Like, pull the signature move.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. I still think sports fans are a little intense, though.
Yes, they can be.
Especially Raiders fans. Holy shit, you guys. I don't get... Whatever. That's the thing. That's another thing I don't get is, like...
Where is the Raiders from? Where is that team from?
When I was young, they were from Oakland. I think they've changed cities, but I could not tell you. I think they're LA now.
Oh, so California.
Yeah. Raider Nation, people. Whatever. I want to, it's like avocados. I want to be involved in like a communal chat, but I can't because the flavor is so bad. I don't care what people's stats are because like we're all a finite commodity. So talking about like how great someone is doing, like unless they're Bo Jackson, they're just good at everything all the time and they're really exceptional. You go, well, the next crop, because humans keep getting taller or whatever. They're just going to keep getting better. Like within the physical limits of our structure, we pretty much gotten it all, right? Like baseball players are juicing and like, not that that's, oh, they're the Vegas Raiders now? Dang. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. So they've changed a couple of times.
They just moved a little bit east.
I 1000% remember having an Oakland Raiders hat.
Oh, wow.
That was wild times the other days, guys. But yeah, it doesn't matter. I don't know. It feels like sports have that like primal thing, so you can appeal to the people who just want to see dudes like really preparing for dementia down the road.
Yeah, right.
Or the dudes who are like talking about yardage and passes or points per season or whatever. So it even like this, like the number nerds, if you're a sports number nerd, you get a pass. No one's like, oh, what a nerd. You care about how many feet a ball was thrown. They go, yeah, that's cool, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of like, but there's the thing. To save face and to be nice to people, I would. But like if I ride my bike somewhere, my motorcycle, there's a certain class of rider who I would consider personally as less than, but only because I have airs to put on. And because they have a completely different way of going. Anyone with an ADV bike feels a little try-hardy because, like, ADV bikes have the same reputation as like Jeeps, where they put the knobby tires on and like those big jacks in case they flip over. They put a bunch of stickers on upside down because they're going to be rock crawling so much and people are going to be seeing these stickers upside down so often it'll all be worth it. But there's never a scratch on the paint and they never leave a Starbucks parking lot. Most ADV bikes like that. These guys will buy like Ducatis that are built to like go across Central and South America and onto Africa after like swimming themselves across the ocean. But they'll put street tires on and put their full like Aprilia whatever racing suits that cost them $1,500 and then hang out in front of, a coffee shop or whatever.
Yeah.
Or, there's a place around here that has a really interesting drive. It like goes out to a little ghost town, Tortilla Flats. And even then, it's paved all the way, so you don't need anything special. And I'll run into dudes out there on their like ADV bikes and all their gear. It must be hot as hell and shit. Not a scratch or a ding or any dirt on it or anything.
I just want to look good, man.
An ADV bike is an adventure bike. Sometimes you can confuse them with sport touring bikes because they'll have a similar form factor, but an ADV bike, typically chain driven, like the Honda Africa Twin is one, something that's able to go on and off road. You want to adventure with it, like the Harley Davidson Pan American, an ADV bike technically. I'm more of a chopper, street style, whatever, cruiser person. Because I know I'm not going to be popping any wheelies or doing anything insane.
Because you're not stupid.
Right. Well, it's not that I'm not stupid, but like I'm not going to, maybe not delusional, but I'm not overly optimistic. Like I'm not going to step into an ADV bike or something that like has a very specific and highly tuned purpose and never do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a street bike, keep it on the street, and roll around town.
Yeah. I like the bike that we have now.
And that's just it. Like, you got to find the thing that fits you. It's just, we're all taught not to judge each other and feel good about yourself or whatever. But it does sort of get, however you want to, whether you judge it or not, it does give off an air of inauthenticity. Like if you see a guy who's got a truck that's beat to hell, covered in mud, he goes off-roading.
Right.
If you see a guy whose Jeep is pristine in the Starbucks parking lot, covered in stickers, and got those big, brand new, shiny red fuel cans and the water and it's like, oh, if you whatever. You've seen the Jeep. They don't see a fucking ounce of unpaved road.
Right. I see sometimes a Jeep that's like bright pink. And like all of like every kind of like the window or the license plate covers and stuff all are like bedazzled, like rhinestones
more
and
like
stuff.
Like a fashion statement. That's completely different. Like they're not putting on a facade of like a rough and rugged trail boss country motherfucker. You know what I mean? If they put rhinestones anywhere, it's like, okay, I know where we're at. I'm not worried about you coming across as inauthentic because you've got a bedazzled
You can go to Starbucks.
steering cover or whatever. Yeah. I know. It's just not that it's a bad thing. It's just, you don't want to come across as incongruous to people.
Yeah. I guess we're talking about cars now. I want a car that has like I would love a Beetle that can put the top down.
We're only tangentially talking about cars. But here's the thing. I want to see a Venn diagram of like convertible owners and top down and how much those circles touch. Because unless you're, in a Viagra commercial with your old wife next to you and you're going, wow, and she's flicking her gray hair, that hardly ever happens. All the convertibles I've ever seen are top up, especially here. This isn't like convertible weather.
Not in the summer.
I wouldn't want to, like, here's the thing. There's like a month and a half, like basically right now up until a week from now, that'll be totally fine for a convertible. It's totally fine for a bike. I don't mind getting on my bike in the summer though, because I'm covered in protective gear.
It's sweating your ass off.
Right, but here's the thing. I'm not suffering radiation burns. In a convertible, I'm not going to put on a riding hat and riding gloves and, thermal, like, UV protective sleeves and pants and riding boots and
I
shit.
guess.
So I'm going to get my ass cooked, and you're going to be one of those old dudes like you see at the Corvette shows who wear like those big puffy trucker hats with the big plastic backs and like, jean shorts, brown leather belt, tucked in Hawaiian shirt, and like those ultra white Reeboks. And my arms will be nothing but liver spots.
Oh, maybe a sunroof. Sunroof wouldn't be bad.
Even then, it's like, why buy? Like, because that's the thing. It's so expensive, right? Because there are some things that you can talk yourself into because you can justify through some backwards math, like it'll pay for itself, right? Mm-hmm. But like luxury items like that, you're never going to pay for themselves. Like when you get a moonroof, the 1 millionth time you open it, you'll still have gained zero value back. And as a matter of fact, every time you open it, it loses a little more value. So you're paying to lose money. And if you live in like a place like California or Oregon or a place where like it's great 80% of the year or whatever, cool. But I also feel like a lot of, I don't know about hard tops, but I feel like soft tops really have a lot of thermal loss.
Probably.
Like, talking about air conditioning on super high all the time, heater super high all the time.
All right, yeah, you've talked me out of it. Fine.
Don't get me wrong. Like, we get to that spot in your life where you're in a position where like money is no object, knock yourself the fuck out. It just feels like for practicality's sake.
I haven't hit my midlife crisis yet, so.
Yeah, hit your midlife crisis, get a bike or like a little 2-seater, open top, something. Little kit car maybe.
What's a kit car?
You essentially send away, they'll give you a big box full of parts and you build it.
Huh.
Back in the like early 2000s, Volkswagen did like a humbug where it was a Volkswagen, I think it was a 1650cc engine in this little Hummer ripoff that was sort of shaped like a bug and had a bug engine, so the humbug. Or you can sometimes there'll be like those little Cobra or those little Shelby looking kit cars or whatever. There's a million of them out there. You just got to put them together yourself.
I'm not a mechanic.
That's why most people just buy a Miata or whatever equates to that now, like the Pontiac Solera. Yeah, Kit Knight Rider. I'm sorry, Michael, I can't put myself together. Oh yeah, that's why most people buy the Miata or like the Solara or whatever that Saturn abomination is. Everybody puts out their version of the Miata trying to get like the 40-year-old midlife crisis dad market. But I don't know. There are some cars out there that are worth their weight in gold. The Ford Explorer Sport Track, that mix between truck and SUV, probably still worth $1 billion, and everybody who has them is going to be buried in them. Like, there are just some cars out there that just hit the market and stick, and a Miata is like that. All the old dudes I knew who had a car at home they were fixing up to take on the weekends with the missus down Main Street was a Miata. And I get it, because, like, they're adorable, but, like, Jesus Christ, I was looking at it, like, you find one that caught fire and burned for 80 minutes, and it's still, like, 14 grand.
Jeez.
Or whatever. It's ridiculous. I don't know. What happened to the MR2? Right? Guys, remember the Toyota MR2? Like a 1992,
Totally, right?
93-ish?
Remember that?
You know? Something like that.
I like my car. I like my Escape. I just, closing my small business, I don't need something that big anymore, but you have a small car, so it's nice to have something bigger for
I don't know, man. Like, you have to balance everything because you can get carried away super quick. Like, when I wish I could drive something that can do 0 to 60 in no time flat. Right, see, Kayla loves the MR2. Holy shit, what a great car. Cute little sports car. Probably pick one up for a song nowadays. I don't know how that engine holds up. Going on 40, 50 years in production or whatever. Hey, what was I talking about?
She says, when I worked the front counter at a repair place, I loved test driving MR2s.
Yeah. Oh, man. I loved working at a dealership and getting to test drive people's cars because, again, you know, some people's taste you just can't explain. People say what you will about the Camaro. As soon as I got in one, I felt like I was sleeping in Dracula's coffin. But there are some things out there that really hit me like a sucker punch. Like when I got into the Honda Element, I was like, "Whoa!" It's like being in a small apartment you can drive around. It felt like free.
Yeah, it was nice, dude. The Element was nice. You were talking about a balance, making a balance between.
Oh yeah, you have to, because you can sort of kneecap yourself, because we all walk that line between wanting something with like power and, you know, gas going in that engine, fucking revving that shit, and having like a four banger or whatever smart car all the way in between. And it's. Oof. There's not much in the middle you can try to find.
Yeah, I don't necessarily want something fast, like, I don't know, just something smaller, but it's hard because we have Elliot, so it's, you know, basically we need to have
right.
something this
I'm just talking
size.
about like on a visceral level. When you sit behind the wheel of a vehicle, part of you wants that horsepower to weight ratio to be totally out of whack. Like when I was looking for my latest car, dude was walking me around the lot. He's like, "Oh, we just got in this used Subaru WRX." I go, "Whoa, really?" It had like some mods to it or whatever, and it was pretty quick. But the thing was, like, it's a 12-year-old car, and they wanted like way more than I wanted to pay for a 12-year-old car.
Right.
And the problem with used cars is if like a fat guy was in there before you, that seat's fucked. And the seat was fucked. I felt like I was sitting on a 2x4 that was sitting on the ground. But I almost wanted to overlook all of the like problems that it had cosmetically and the ass smashed seat and all that shit, because it could probably pull 0 to 60 in half or a quarter of the time of the thing I'm driving now.
Was it stick shift?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I would have rocked that shit all day and night. But I'm glad I got what I got instead of something
used.
Not used. I'm like something like super cheap, because when you jump into the market, you look at the extremes. So I was like, "Oh, what about a Fit or a smart car or a Mazda 3 or a Fiesta, you know, subcompact range." And I never recommended a subcompact to literally anybody unless they were like super young or had literally no other option, because you get so frustrated behind the wheel of an underpowered vehicle. It's not worth it. Like when I got my first bike, it was a 50cc. I outgrew it after the first block.
Immediately. Like, we should not have driven that thing together.
Well, yeah, moral of the story is, like, I went down the easy path and got something super cheap and super light and regretted it immediately, because here's the thing. When you don't have to use the toilet, you can, one-ply toilet paper sounds fine, right? You can use it for your Rolodex or whatever. But when the rubber hits the road, you want some horsepower in that shit.
Yeah. Yep.
So, and that's the thing. Unless there's no other option, like you're just a very small person and you have a very small budget, then there you go. But it will give you frustration and agitation every day, because, like, when you're behind the wheel of your car, it feels like everybody can go faster than you, and they will. Like, Priuses will pull past you in whatever you're in because you're not paying attention or whatever, and you'll be like, "Oh my God, I can't believe it." It's so annoying.
Yeah.
But whatever. So that's whatever. When you're looking at monster trucks or regular trucks, you got to find something not too flashy and not too powerful and not too weak. Because the power will be a burden that will be mostly cosmetic and like kind of a humble brag. Because if you pick up a Dodge Challenger or whatever, a Dodge Charger, something with 8 cylinders and triple-dig horsepower, you go, oh, but the gas and the insurance and woe is me. But you're rolling around in like a Thundercat. There's like a, exhaust kit on it, and it draws a lot of looks. Whereas like if you're behind the wheel of something that's got 2 cylinders and you're just constantly flooring it to keep up with traffic, it's going to be a constant stress where it's not like a tax on your wallet necessarily, but it's like a physical stressor that you're always being like whipped around by the 4 winds.
Yeah, people get so pissed out here.
I'm sure they do everywhere because people are people.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's moving out here, like in the sticks, not really the sticks, but like surrounded by farmland, and there's only 3 ways to get home from like the city, like Mesa.
The big city.
The big old city. Like, the speed limit's 50 on one road, and people are flying by me while I'm doing 60.
Right. Well, because that's the thing. When you're out in the middle of nowhere, it's just a bunch of country boys who know that there are no like street lights, and so who gives a shit? Like when you're standing in the middle of where we live and you can see for 500 miles in every direction, like people don't feel any compunction about punching it, because if there were a cop, you'd see him. Like on my way home from my last job, there was one tree, and I always slowed down by that tree because it was the only place a cop could hide. And guess what? Every time I saw a cop, he was hiding behind that tree. So, whatever, you come out here, you get yourself a jacked up Chevy or a GMC or a Ford or whatever, put those big knobby tires and some exhaust on it. You want to rip around, show your countrified girlfriend a good time, heading out to Country Thunder. You can let that baby rip, because who's out here?
Yeah.
Like, chances are, if you see something that looks mysterious, it's probably just a cow.
Did you see somebody in Arizona, or a teenager in Arizona on a motorcycle, hit a cow like yesterday?
I don't keep up with the cow news, but I'm not surprised. There are so many cows around here,
crazy.
guys. What are the 5 C's of Arizona?
Cows.
Cattle, not cows.
Still the same.
Right, but you wouldn't say, I want to buy 14 head of cow. It's cattle. Cattle, copper, citrus, climate.
Cotton.
Climate. MR2s are badass. You know what I'm talking about, Matt. And the 5th C is I don't know.
Isn't it cotton?
Cotton, cattle,
Citrus.
climate, citrus, carbon
Copper.
dioxide.
Copper.
That was my first one.
No.
It doesn't matter, people.
Cotton was the first one.
What? It doesn't matter whether I know the 5 C's or not. One of them is not cows.
Let's talk about cars.
Cattle. I just want to talk about cars for a minute. Still, I'm leaning into the... if Allison were here on the show, we'd be talking about lol cows, and I can't believe I've kept it at bay this long.
Yeah.
Just a passing reference, people.
This is the first time he's mentioned lol cows in however long.
Let's be real. Lol cows have been kind of a slow business lately, or at least the ones I follow. Like, cheers, Matt. Like Cyrax, after his court win, it's been kind of like blah. King Cobra is making mead and irritating me, so I'm staying away. Boogie 2988 is having a bad time and circling the drain.
Crystal meth. Oh,
Wait.
yeah, no. Well, maybe in part of Arizona, one of the seas is crystal meth.
Yeah, definitely.
East of us.
Yeah, gentrification is pushing all those meth heads further east, so I don't got to worry about that.
No, they're probably in Globe now.
Like, holy shit. It's so weird. That's another thing. Like, drugs are like a multi-billion-dollar industry, right? But the people who use them and produce them are pretty low rent, or at least like the street level drugs we get around here. Because yeah, I don't know how it is anymore, but Globe used to be a big meth problem area.
It probably still is. There's, I mean, it's not. It's
catalytic converter.
Catalytic converter. I forgot what I was saying. And I forgot what I was gonna say.
Nice.
So that's cool.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, moral of the story is MR2s, pretty nice cars. I think, here's the thing. I want at some point to own a 2-seater, but I've never had a moment in my life where that would work outside of owning a truck, like when I was a tradesman.
Was your white truck that I met you in a 2-seater, or was it a 4? Or a
Two, technically
door?
3.
Oh, yeah, because
Yeah.
it had a bench seat in the back, didn't it?
In the back?
Like, behind the seats?
No, there was nothing. Like, behind the seats was the window.
Oh, it was just one wrong. Yeah, you're right. It was just one long seat.
One
yes.
seat. That's the thing that I don't think we're ever going to see again, because maybe it kills people. I don't know. Is
Probably.
bench seats in the front?
Yeah.
Everything has to be like modular and like a spaceship or
Race car
station
seats.
and like shit. It just feels like there's enough room for your body to sink into like a mat that's been molded to your ass. Whereas like in the 80s and 90s, you had a full-blown couch that if you wanted to, you could pull over the side of the road, stretch your arms and legs out to their fullest extent and not touch both of the door handles.
Yeah.
That was my 95 Chevy Lumina. I called it the 5.0 because it looked like a big-ass police car. 4-door, huge front bench seat with one of those giant-ass consoles that was like, I don't know, 24 inches wide that could swing like an old saloon table door or whatever. What a time to be alive. Maybe people just aren't interested in like
I
easy
never had
sexual access anymore, because now that seriously though, like think about it. Look at any modern car and think about trying to get at a sexual partner on the other side. It's impossible.
No.
Your old Chevys, your old Fords, old bench seats, people were banging all the time in those. And now you got, what do? You gotta go to the back seat? I ain't doing that.
Even just a nice ride. Like when our first date, you had me sitting in the middle of the bench truck seat.
Really?
Yep. You had me move over because you were showing me how to use a stick shift.
Oh, well, then that's different.
But, I mean, and I was still sitting there next to you the whole ride.
But, like, I wouldn't just be like, hey, mosey on over here for no reason. Like, that'd be, like, on our first date, I'd be like, hey, yeah, why don't you just go ahead and move from that side of the truck all the way over here for no reason other than my request.
Manspreading wasn't frowned upon back then.
Because ladies had dresses that needed to hide their genitals. Men could spread. When ladies started wearing pants, the world became a worse place. And that's an unbiased opinion.
Is that a park break in your pants, or are you happy to see me?
I was always pulling the e-brake.
Utter-lytic converter.
But seriously, I know that like everything is much safer now, and there's probably less people dying in horrible accidents. But like, I don't know, what's the cost of aesthetics, right? Because we have to make sacrifices of form for function. Like we need to have crumple zones and titanium alloy in places and breakaway parts, and it's just like, ugh. That's one way to release the joke is right.
Heyo.
Yeah, and that's another thing that kind of, Kayla, you'll probably identify with this. It feels like everybody I talk to identifies with this, but like now that every car basically comes with an iPad stapled to the dashboard, like my car is a nothing and it has a touchscreen that's like thousands of dollars if broken. It kind of feels like you're getting set up to fail. Like when I was buying cars, I didn't worry about the computer in them going out because they were 8-bit and everything was still run by like cables and shit. Mm-hmm. Like I don't know if the pedals in my car connect to literally anything other than just like a hope and a computer pressure sensor. Like if I hit the brakes or the gas or the clutch or any of that down there, am I interacting with anything other than just a bunch of like Fisher-Price pedals that all work wires that send signals back to the computer to do the things that I'm telling it to do? Because like my first 5 cars, when I would change it from cold air to warm air or move the vents around, you would hear the clunk of physical mechanisms moving around.
Now you just
And
press
now
a
it's like a
button.
bunch of buttons. And so it's not even like, because back then if something broke, you'd be like, oh, and you could see the thing that was broken because it was just a mechanism.
Yeah.
Now, like I have to push a bunch of buttons, and if my AC is like, oh, I'm automatically going to heat up to whatever the fuck I feel like, I have no choice but to take it because that lever in the 1983 Toyota pickup literally just controlled a vent. Like it didn't have a brain. Like I wasn't worried that it was going to overthrow the government.
The fancier the car, the more there is to break down.
Seriously, the more moving parts you have in anything, or the more potential we can make it solid state, it just worries me because, like, if you're one of those people who sticks with something for a long time, I get a little squirrely because I know that TV plastered to the front of my car that is run by a computer that's probably better than the one I'm coming to you live from right now. I go, Jesus Christ. I miss my old Toyota pickup that had literally nothing except cables and a carburetor.
Yeah. I have to say, I was upset that I didn't realize before I bought my car now that there was not a CD player. Like, I wish that my car had a CD player. I know, but like, I just want a CD player.
Now you have a USB drive. Your CDs are in the palm of your hand.
Yeah, man. And so, like, all those places that, like, there's a guy in our community who just moved here called Pro Audio, I think. He installs radios into your car. Like, how...
Right. Like, my car doesn't have a spot for a radio. It's got that screen. So if I wanted a sweet Kenwood or Rockford Fosgate or whatever after the fact, and I go, put it in the thing, they go, well, where the fuck are we going to put it, dipshit? Here are your vents, and here's a big iPad.
Yeah,
like, well, fuck, you got me, I guess. Matt says my dad has 13 cars. Many are vintage.
That's cool.
Yeah, but that's the thing too, is like the simpler the mechanism, the easier it is to understand by the layman. So like a carburetor or a naturally aspirated engine, you know, even if they break down more than a modern engine, you know how to get to them without frying something or potentially throwing off a balancer or a sensor or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. The home tinkerer, I don't know what they look like anymore. I know what, like, dudes who worked on cars back in the day, like what their garages look like. But now, like, do you have a bunch of like readers and plugs and stuff that just sort of have to program everything?
Probably. I mean, because when
it's kind of like owning a motorcycle. What Matt, you said it is easy. It's like owning something very simple. You know, if you have just an engine and an air conditioning unit and everything that basically needs to run mechanically is in there, you go, okay, I know exactly where everything is. But when they throw a bunch of sensors and computer shit in there and they throw a big plastic bonnet over the top, it's basically a warning sign being like, don't touch me, motherfucker.
Right. Like, look at my mom and stepfather got a motorcycle, the 3-wheel motorcycle, and it's like fully electronic stuff, and it has been in the shop for like almost a month now. He's tried to bring it home when they said it's done 2 or 3 times, and like the reverse wouldn't work, like various things wouldn't work, and he can't fix it because it's all computer.
Right. And that's the problem that I don't know if anyone even cares about it. Like, will the newer generations give a shit? Like, they can't fix their own stuff? Because it's like we get new cell phones every 2 years. We get new computers every 2 to 5 years. Like, we just chuck this shit.
I think it depends on what they're into. Like, if they're into, you know, racing or whatever, they're going to have the cars that have to change parts as opposed to electric.
Right, but like, I'm just talking about your average Joe. Like, when I was a kid, everybody on the street that I grew up on had a toolbox and worked on their own shit.
Yeah.
I don't know a single person who can work on their own shit today. outside of like the simple stuff. Like I can do stuff on my bike because there's no computer. Like if I had to change out the oil or a belt or, change some fluid or whatever, it's so simple. It sort of lends itself to doing the job because it's all right there. I don't know. Like if you want to be a maybe a conspiracy theorist or whatever, it does feel a little anti-consumerism when you make things so smart that like the common folk can't fuck with it anymore.
Yeah, they have to break it in. Because that could be what happened. I mean, they could be like, oh shit, like
right.
people are doing their own stuff.
It feels like what maybe like the video games is a good touchstone because like now anybody can basically build and or hack and or do whatever to an NES. But back in 1985, you couldn't do shit because you didn't have that type of technical skill. But like given 20 years, so I'm sure in the future things being made now will be easy peasy because who knows what the fuck it holds. But it does feel like as we get further away from just like things working, like when automobiles showed up, I bet a bunch of people who own horses were like, what the fuck? But
look at now, like
the trade-offs were like, okay, you have to feed and house an animal that also shits and can die and has babies and gets sick with something that can stay in a garage as long as you don't use it too much and take care of it. It'll last for a long time. So the trade-off was worth it. But every new model of car just feels like it's one layer removed from like the layman to be like, don't touch this.
Right. Like my last car, the Focus, I think, like you used to change my oil in the Passat, and then you couldn't change my oil anymore in the Focus because they had like a piece of fiberglass or something that they had to do. Like they had to do it. I had to bring it to Jiffy Lube or wherever to get it done. And now that's what we do now because we can't do it ourselves.
Right. Some of the things that companies do to like that maybe are guised as like benefits don't feel that way because like that bottom curtain that was on the like it's on the bottom of most cars now. I don't know if mine has it, but most cars will have an under curtain so that stuff from the road can't get whipped up into your engine. So I kind of get it, but it does just sort of feel like a carbon fiber fuzzy barrier of like, hey, I know that an oil change for you would be $50, but it'll be $80 in our pocket.
Yeah.
And we also put Starbit fasteners on there. So also, if you're just a regular ass layman, you can eat our ass because nobody who isn't a little deep in the lore has like Starbits or those security Starbits.
Yeah. Yeah. So just bring it into us and schedule an appointment with XYZ company so we don't go out of business.
But it's whatever. Every generation, I'm sure, goes through these sorts of growing pains, but it does feel like this is an order of magnitude heavier for our generation or for this millennia or this century or whatever because things are going quicker than they've ever. Because
I guess, because
we had horses, right, for 10,000 years, so we sort of got comfortable with that shit.
Yeah.
And then for the last 100-ish, 110, we've had cars, and they've gone from like steam-powered boiler, like wooden spoke wheels to like fucking supercars that run off of energy gathered by the sun.
Right. Teslas. Now you lost me. Starbits sound like a breakfast cereal. There are a certain type of
Kaylee, you worked at a mechanic. You know the Starbit. You got your Allen keys. You got your security bits. You got your square bits. You got your star bits. Hello, security.
We still
stars?
don't have a Starbit bit.
All right, because it doesn't. Who needs it? We
needed it for our thing in the kitchen
one time.
Yeah.
And it still hasn't gotten done.
No, because we don't have one.
Right, because fuck it. I'm not going to go out and spend big money on an expensive, not just a star bit, mind you. It's a security star bit. And for those of you not in the know, here's the thing. You get your hex keys, right? Some people call them Allen wrenches or Allen keys.
Those are the L-shaped things?
Your L-shaped things. Sometimes they'll come in like a pocket knife configuration, but they are hexagons. Mm-hmm. Pretty simple. Then you get your square bits, a little less common. Then you get your star bits, which are exactly what you think they are, as a 5 or 6 pointed star. Then you get your star security bits, or security star bits, which will have a post in the center. So you have to have a star bit with a orifice to accept it.
Oh, Jesus.
And sure, you could roll the dice, try to find a small screwdriver and bust off all the pegs in those security star bits. But you're probably going to break your screwdriver, but you can try it. I would recommend it.
Do it. Yes,
Alan Keyes is Alicia Keys' dad.
I used to love Alicia Keys when she first came out. I mean, I'm sure she's still great now, but I don't listen to her anymore.
I just thought about another one-hit or maybe two-hit wonder. Elia Goulding, remember where she had Lights and
Ellie Goulding, yeah.
that other one? Where's she now, right?
She could be just on a different radio station.
Yeah, because
Like Alicia Keys.
I'm always listening to the radio. Terrestrial radio is totally cool and doesn't ever die. That's why Bill of Beth and Bill, now of Bill and Friends, has been on the radio for 40 years, because much like the horse industry, they love rapid change.
Hey, look, sometimes if my phone doesn't hook to my computer in my car, I
Radio is such bullshit. Let me tell you.
listen to
Here's the thing.
96.9.
99.9 is what they play at work with Beth and
The
Friends.
KEZ.
Yeah, Beth and Bill ruled the air of like adult 70s, 80s, and 90s rock for the longest time. Bill died somewhere around 20 years ago, so it's been Beth and Friends. And how they get away with this, I don't know. But they have like Bad Joke Fridays or some bullshit. And I'll be goddamned if like 3 Fridays in a row I didn't hear the same fucking cooked joke from the same kid to the same reaction 3 Fridays in a row.
Yeah, the Mix 96.9 doesn't usually do that.
Is your audience pool so low that you can't find some slack-jawed yokel every Friday to call in and give you one bad joke?
Yeah,
And
where's
it's not
Big
like it was
Salmon?
that's the thing. It's not hard, and it's not like it was a promo. It wasn't like, here's what happens every Friday. It's just like, here's what's happening right now. It's Friday. It's time for... And it wasn't an abbreviated version. Same fucking kid every goddamn week.
That's crazy. Yeah, no, Mix 96.9 didn't use... I haven't listened to them since Matthew Blades left, really. But if my phone doesn't hook up to my car the right way, then I listen to the radio to... Jameson's available for bad jokes.
I see that. Okay. I mean, that's fine, right? Because I don't mind a good bad joke themed day. When I was young and in junior high, I had a math teacher, my 8th grade, Mr. Madsen. He would have a bad joke every day because he listened to a radio station and would tell him one every morning.
Oh, yeah.
I was totally fine with that. If that's your shtick, if that's your gimmick, great. Don't play me reruns on live terrestrial radio.
Right. Yeah, no.
Plus, now that I'm a dad, I got that shit covered. Like, hello, dad jokes are like the thing that you...
Or pointing out cows. He's good at pointing out cows.
Right. Every time you see a cow, you got to point it out and you go, whoa, that's a cow. And I don't know why that is. Maybe it's the 4 stomachs.
And Elliot goes, whoa, look at those cows. And that's the end of it.
Maybe it's because horses aren't as common. Like, there's plenty of cattle. Again, Arizona. See?
Cows.
Horses are not among the 5 C's. So it's like, whatever.
Horses.
On the other side, if we had 5 R's, one of them would be Roadrunner. And I swear to God, we have seen more Roadrunners this year than I've seen every
Just in
year
the
of my
last few
life
months.
combined. Here's the thing. Growing up in Arizona, you'd think you'd see all the 5 species we have eventually, right? We have mountain lions, we have javelina or peccary, whatever you want to call them. We have tarantulas, we have roadrunners, and we have big collared lizards, and we have Gila monsters, and basically
Coyotes. I mean, they're the...
whatever. We have under a dozen big species that everybody
Scorpions.
loves to come and look at. Saw them all ad nauseum.
Except
my
for
entire life.
roadrunners.
Postcards is where I saw roadrunners. In the last year, like, they've become so commonplace. We were walking out of a store into a parking lot where 2 of them were just hanging out with each other.
Yeah, right by the grocery cart, like, carousel thing.
I put them in the same category as like the Thunderbird, where like they were near mythical, right?
Yeah.
I saw more Gila monsters in my life than Roadrunners up until this year.
Yeah, we had one in our backyard, ate a lizard, ran away.
Ate a fucking lizard right in front of my face.
We saw 2 in the parking lot over the weekend, and then yesterday, yeah, you were at work, you were in the office yesterday. Yesterday, there was one, ran up to our front door, chilled out on our porch for a hot second, and then was just standing in our front yard.
It's wild.
And I was able to take a picture and send it to David. I'm like, what? It must be, maybe it's the same one that was in our backyard.
Like,
maybe he hangs
Roadrunners
out.
are the flamingos of Arizona. Beautiful creatures. I can't believe I've been so lucky to see so many of them, because like, holy shit.
They're cool looking.
Yeah.
And they just like their head moves fast like a hummingbird, not like exactly like a hummingbird, but like it moves faster
I like birds.
than a bird.
Got a bird head. But, oh man. Whatever the circumstance is, I'll take it. But like, Gila monsters were on my radar when I was growing up.
Yeah.
Because like, one of the lizards is pink.
Right. I've never
Like,
seen one
recreationally.
aside from the one at the museum.
I've
like
seen them
in
all
person.
over the place. And tarantulas, they were a dime a dozen. We were picking them up all the time. It was like every other month, my dad would come up with a tarantula he found at work, and we'd keep it. And
I've only ever seen one tarantula aside from that one that we bought him at the reptile show, but I saw one tarantula once. We went hiking with your dad and he picked it up and moved it from the way we were walking, and I was like, that's gross.
because they're not, here's the thing, like spiders and all the other like shit, you can't, there's no tame, there's no domesticated version. So if you have a tarantula, it's just as safe as picking one up in the wild.
Yeah, no,
I mean, within reason. Hopefully yours will have a little bit of familiarity with you, but like, well, the story is like most things out there that you think are trying to kill you actually aren't. They just want to fucking find breakfast or whatever.
well, they can do that outside of our house is fine.
Yeah, mostly they do, but sometimes it's cold out or hot. That's the way it is here in Arizona. Not necessarily cold very much, but sometimes it's like, woo, brisk.
It's a little warm. I'm gonna come inside and then we're gonna catch them, put them in a tank.
Right, because then you know
In the
where they
studio.
are. Like, here's the thing. We catch criminals and put them in a prison. So we go, okay, we know where they are. They're in there.
I'm convinced some of them have gotten out before you put the top on.
There's a 0% chance.
No, there is.
Scorpions cannot climb glass.
They
That's
can't.
one of the things
I've read
they
it.
can't.
They totally can.
No, they can't. It's completely impossible.
They can climb glass.
And the lids always doesn't matter, guys. What the story is, that's probably going to do it for us for tonight. Thank you for showing up if you did. I appreciate it. I'll find a way to get some more names back up here. Maybe we'll play some games. I just felt like a little break from our usual would have been nice.
Hangout sesh talking about monster trucks and cars and
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like
Roadrunners.
this isn't a doorbuster deal type show, but hey, you know what? Sometimes you just gotta phone it in. Because I've got a lot of true crime stuff, but I feel like
That's for Fridays.
right, but going over the same fast food stuff, like I found this really, like, I couldn't believe it. Maybe I'll make you guys watch it eventually, but it's like an hour and 20 minutes of like customer training for McDonald's.
Oh my God. We
So,
would never get through
It must
14
be
minutes of it.
intense. So, and that's the thing. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's all I got for you this week, guys. Until Friday, of course, when I've got some juicy ones to pick from, and I'm in between like 2 or 3, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's what I got for you. Thank you so much. We're almost at 400 subscribers, so
We're one away.
pretty radical. But until we reach 400, the foot-long cold cut combo at our subderv is always going to be $3.99 until we get to 400 subscribers. It'll be $4 even out the door,
Oh yeah.
plus tax, title, license, and
Yeah.
$2.99 doc fee.
Right. The doc fee for a combo?
Yeah, we got to document that combo. Every time you put more than 2 cold cuts together, you got to document and give it to the government.
Only if it's another rap video training.
Right. So what was it? Ryan Maxwell showed me the hot
yeah.
and cold drinks for Wendy's.
I forgot to watch them.
It was not the same guy from the burger video. They
All
hired
right.
2 separate artists.
One's a lady, right? He said one was a woman, I
I
think.
Yeah, probably.
I haven't had the chance to watch
They're
them yet.
lost to memory practically, but that's it, guys. Thanks so much for watching. We'll be back in a couple of days to do some more show for you. But until then, I've got nothing more. So smell you later.
Bye.